Well, good afternoon, everybody, and hello, Suzanne. I'm very excited today because I have with me a very special lady, Suzanne. She is the owner of Transform Connections. She is a energetic healer, a spiritual teacher, and an empower of women. Suzanne uses a technique called tapping, and this is very new to me. I only found out about it when I met you, and I am such a believer. And so, can you tell everybody a little bit about what tapping is and how you got into it?
Yeah. So thanks so much for having me, first of
Oh,
all.
pleasure.
Such an honor. Um, I grew up in a dysfunctional household, like so many people did, where there was abuse. And I was a very sensitive child and very introverted. And that led me to go down a route of very significant anxiety, which, led me to being an emotional overeater and using Xanax just to cope. I spent my 20s up and down the scale between unworthiness, shame, and learning self-honor, really learning self-honor. And so in my early 30s, I left the crazy hectic Northeast, which was just too much of a pressure cooker for my sensitive energy, for all of what I was trying to do for myself, came down to Florida and began to start looking at some alternative holistic techniques. And tapping was one of them. And through implementing these free, amazing alternative healing techniques, I was able to drop hundreds of pounds of emotional weight that I was carrying and stop using the medication. And I've been almost 10 years now with a healthy body weight and medication free.
That's amazing.
So tapping really came into my world about 12 years ago. It's 2018 right now. So it's been around about 12 years into my life. And in the beginning, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just like, somebody said if I started tapping on certain parts of my face that I would start to feel a little bit better. And really I was, life is all about the long haul. It's not like not short, goals. It's all about long-term goals. So I was kind of doing it just knowing that this was going to help me kind of reverse what I had gotten into in the first, few decades of my life. So that's a little bit about me. And then,
Well,
what is tapping?
well, can I just interrupt you for a second? Because I wanted to, there's something that I found very fascinating when I met you and we started to talk. We met at a conference and we became fast friends. And we stayed overnight for the conference and we went to dinner and I felt like I've known you forever. And that's very rare for me. And I felt very blessed to get to spend time with you and hang out with you. But what I found so interesting about you is that you were very successful in corporate America in sales, right? And then so you had a totally different background. And what I think is amazing is that you left that success to go, and you were so brave to let go of that, career that you were so successful at, to go into a healing technique to help other women. And I find that amazing.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I'm a little bit selfish in doing that because I did have a very, very successful career. I worked in a technology company for 25 years. I was one of the top people in my organization for a long time, and really loved what I was doing at the time. And it was 25 years of a corporate life. But the sidelines of that was I was experiencing chronic anxiety and stress, and I was emotionally overeating, and I was using all this medication like Paxil and Effexor and Xanax just to cope through the day. And so, yeah, I was successful financially, because I kind of just figured out how to do that. But then really there was this whole other world I was living in, which was to unravel my stress and anxiety. And as I was learning these other alternative techniques, they're like learning new languages. And when you learn a new language, you want someone to practice it with. And so I didn't have one to practice it with. So I started a small business doing it for myself, kind of just on the side. And I had a couple of clients, and that just kind of kept that language fluid in my life. So that way I didn't lose it. That way I could continue it. And that really keeps it as a part of my daily practice. So yeah, about 2 years ago or so, it was about 25 years into my corporate career. I just said, you know what, there was just some other part of me that was just yearning for being of service and having fulfillment in a whole new way, not just the engineering, mathematical science mind that I had when I worked in the corporate world, but something totally different, which was to really take everything that I've been learning and studying and practicing to help me to bring that to other women. And so
That's
that's
amazing.
launched me into my business, Transformed Connections, because really I'm here to be of service to women and help women kind of unravel their stress and struggle and be able to get back to the basics of who they really truly are and live with that authenticity.
I was very impressed when I found out your story because that is so brave. And, so, so many people ignore that voice inside of them that this isn't your path anymore. And they're afraid to take that leap. And you did. And I think as a coach and a healer and a mentor, having that story is like, look, I did it. I'm not asking you to do anything that I didn't do.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know your story, you've overcome so much adversity and you're such a lovely person and you're not bitter and you're very kind and loving and giving and so empathic.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what happens when you truly embrace your authenticity, you just become a channel for your own life. And so you do have that compassion for yourself. You do have that sensitivity toward yourself. And then by process of, your life, you've got to learn the boundaries of how to kind of hold on to your energy and keep your power and know where to give it and how to have even balanced exchanges with people. And it's been a dance in my life to kind of learn how to do.
Well, you do a great job and your energy, I just love your energy. It's amazing. And it's so welcoming and comforting and soothing. I had a session with you. And like I said, I didn't know much about this technique and I didn't know what to expect. And I was blown away by the emotional response. Like when we first started, I was like, okay. And then by the end of it, I was in tears. I was sobbing. But it was a good cry. It was like a cathartic cry. It was, yeah. And you helped me reach through the things that I didn't even know were still bothering me. So
right.
I see so much value in what you do and what you offer. So can you offer any more insight? Because I know you told me like when I was tapping here, that was very sensitive to me. And you told me that was fear.
Oh yeah. That point is the kidney meridian. That's fear. Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about like how it works?
So let me back up a little bit. Tapping is a technique that is based in Chinese medicine and modern psychology and neurobiology. And it's a technique where we're literally using our fingers to engage our own body's energy system for the purpose of restoring a mind-body balance through self-connection. And then that will give us choice in what it is that we want to do. And what that all really means is that when we're energy, our bodies are energy, our thoughts are energy, we are a frequency, we're a vibration, and that we are energy in motion. And when we think thoughts, and we remember experiences and we notice patterns in our life that we don't like, there's momentum behind all of that. Stuff that we think about that we like, patterns that we like, there's momentum behind that too. But the ones where we are tripping over ourselves, and we call that self-sabotage. And I really don't like the word self-sabotage because I don't believe it exists. I just believe that we are doing something that we know how to do, that we trained ourselves to do. And that when we find ourselves doing it, it's just, oh, that's what I'm doing to myself again.
Like if we're just in a toxic pattern, we don't realize.
Right, but it's not that you're sabotaging yourself. It's just, this is how you train yourself to protect yourself. And so, but I don't like the result that I'm getting, so I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do it a different way. So when you try and do it a different way and you do it the old way, you go, oh, I'm sabotaging myself. No, it's just you're going on autopilot. You're just doing what you used to do. So we've got this, our bodies are energy, our thoughts are energy, our memories are energy, everything we've recorded is energy, and there's a momentum behind that. And if you can imagine, something that maybe happened to you that you don't like, maybe that's going 500 miles an hour of momentum in your energy body. So what tapping really does is it slows down the momentum of those energies so that you can really come to a place of calm and peace and self-connection, and then truly ask yourself, what's really going on there? Have a bigger perspective about things, bring resources to those, memories and situations to really help you kind of process it in a different way, not the reactive way of, oh my God, this was happening to me, but really go, okay, now I've got some perspective. Let me process it this way. And then that energy can then move through you. And then when it's moved through you, that's when you feel relief. That's when you feel like you've overcome something. That's when you have new choice in what it is that you want to have as your, what you're looking forward to. So tapping, it's a very tops down type of approach to processing energy. By tops down, meaning we're going to our mind and we're asking, what do we remember? How do we think? What do we remember hearing? How does the body feel? It's like when you smell something really good and you're like, oh yeah, that reminds me of that holiday or whatever. Or you taste something and you say, oh, you know what, I used to make this when I was little. Or you go into an environment and you feel like, oh, this is so familiar to me. It's like our bodies and our minds have memory, and it's stored in our cells. And this can either give us a really wonderful, fruitful life, or if the things that we've recorded from our point of view that were around stress and struggle, those are recorded in there too. So tapping can help kind of just loosen the grip, on those things that we've got stuck inside, and then help us process through. And then when we process it through, then we can have a different result. We can feel so much better.
Thank you. That was wonderful. But I also want to add too, I think that technique is amazing, but I feel that you're very intuitive, because when we did the session, it was more than you just telling me to tap. You were saying things to me that you couldn't have known. Like and I loved your ability to make me go into a place, like when we were talking about something, you were like, let's talk about it internally. I didn't say this to you, but internally it was like, I don't want to, and
I've got 5 planets in Libra. I am air on steroids. I can read your mind. So yeah, I'm very, very intuitive. I'm very empathic. So I do get a lot of those, I'm that person that when you're with, I finish your sentence because you can't even find the words as fast as I'm hearing them in my mind. So
it's incredible.
I can hear it before you even can conceptualize it. I know exactly what's going on, and I can get right to that part of you, and we can start to weed it out and then be able to slow down the momentum and be able to help your body process through it.
Well, because you made me feel very comfortable. I'm sorry, what?
And then you're like, what just happened?
I know, because you made me feel very comfortable. And as much as I do my service for other people, usually I have a 12th house Scorpio moon. I'm not really free flowing with the sharing of my emotional problems or issues or challenges or whatever you want to call them. We all have them, but I'm very secretive and also extremely introverted. So when I met you, it was such a treat because I felt like I've known you forever, and you made me feel very comfortable, and you actually helped me work through some energy that I was stuck with and bring it up, and in a way that felt very safe and very soothing. And so what I feel when I tell people about you, I say, I guess anybody could learn the technique, but not anybody can do it the way that you do it, because you bring something more to the table. Like it's you, and it's your psychic ability, your intuition, however you want to call it. Like you get in there, and because when you were talking to me during the session, you were saying things to me that you couldn't possibly have known. And that's the part that really got me.
Yeah, because just like when you do sessions with your clients, I really tune into your energy. I listen to the words that you're using, which are words that are telling me where you're stuck, telling me where the stories are, telling me where you're looking at something, hearing something, you're experiencing something that, I can kind of go in there with a crowbar and be like, okay, this is where we need to loosen up a little bit. So,
I loved your approach because it was like you weren't going to let me out of it, but it wasn't intrusive. I didn't feel that you were being intrusive. I felt you were being very supportive, and like kind of like when you have a child who doesn't want to do something, you're like, come on, let's do it. And it was incredible. Also, too, I love that you have retreats.
I do. Well, I have an online community of women, which I nurture. It's called the Empowered Social Revolution. It's on Facebook.
I'm a member, and I love it. I love your videos.
I post a lot of your stuff there too.
Thank you.
Oh, great. So I've got this wonderful community of women that's not just on Facebook. So I know not everyone's on Facebook, but I teach those local classes here. But I do retreats once a month in Cocoa Beach, Florida. It's a beach retreat house. It's 20 women. We have a vegan cook that's with us. I bring a yoga instructor, and we do fun things. We paddleboard, we do art classes, we do a lot of tapping. We do other modalities like sound healing. Maybe I'll even get you to come one time and do
I'd love to.
so we do, it's a transformational weekend because I feel like a lot of women out there are just looking for connection and community like they never thought that they needed before, or they just were kind of compliant with or complacent with the, attachments that they had to their old organizations and institutions and families, and just like, it's just not working for me anymore. I need something more. So we hold the space for women to come from all over the place. They fly in from all over the country and they come in for the weekend. And it's a Friday to a Sunday, and it's just a real time to connect, be nurtured, safe to be vulnerable. We experience this a whole agenda of all these amazing activities that we do, like I said, between tapping and art classes and yoga classes and paddleboarding. And if you've never done any of that stuff before, we accommodate people at all different levels. We get women who come from all over the country that maybe even never saw the ocean or never even swam, or never took a yoga class, or maybe never even heard of yin yoga or kundalini yoga or vinyasa yoga or ashtanga. And we introduce them in a really gentle way. That way they can learn about different things that they can bring back into their world and then help them kind of continue to process on their journey. So, yeah.
I love it. It's like being a part of a coven.
It's so fun.
I have to get myself, because my daughter is young, so I need to get her off with her grandparents so I can come down there. I would love to be part of it, and I would also love to be involved and have it, because that's such a nurturing kind of thing to do for yourself.
Yeah.
And
women email me all the time. They're just like, I'm coming by myself. Is that okay? I'm like, everybody comes by themselves, because frankly, it's like you want to kind of bring your best friend or your girlfriends, but then you're kind of like, but I really want something outside of those masks that I normally wear with them, and I really want to be who I really truly am, or maybe discover who that person is. And so we find that 90% of the people that attend the retreats are just all solo travelers, and you get paired up in a room with somebody else. It's an old house, so you get a room with somebody else and bathroom that you share with somebody else. And by the end of the weekend, everybody's best friends and has had a great time.
It's fun. It's like being back in college. Yeah. Being back when we did the Hampton chairs. And
yeah, it's offering that connection where I think people are just walking really alone and lonely right now, wanting answers, but knowing intuitively in our bodies that we're here to connect with other humans. And yet the people that we're connected to just aren't giving it to us in the way that we're offering it, or maybe we're not having that exchange in a balanced way. And so to go to some place where you're like, nobody knows you, you can be exactly who you want to be, it's women only. And so it's, you want to wear a ponytail and sweatpants every day, go for it. I don't care.
Hello.
Comfortable, do it,
I love it. And it's wonderful that you create that environment, because that's a very unique service. And the way that you make it so fun, and I mean, there's so much to do. Like, you don't have to go paddleboarding, right? You can relax. You can do it. It's just constant interaction or relaxation.
Yeah, you could sleep the whole weekend, but I think
but you wouldn't want to do that.
I mean, no. I mean, some people rest. I mean, there's hammocks there. It's a beautiful location. So, I mean, we're on the water. It's amazing. So you make it your own. You make it what you're ready for. But we just hold a space for you to either 100% jump in, 50% jump in. And it's a small enough group where you don't feel like you're lost. Like, everyone's really kind of bonded and connected.
So how could somebody sign up for that? Now, before we do that, I wanted to just go back, because I know these retreats are just for women, but you do also offer your services to men.
Yes, of course. It's just, I'm a woman, so I'm always looking out for women.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like, so much of the last 5,000 years of, pre-age of Aquarius has been with the suppression of women. And so I'm a part of that also. So I feel like we really need a leg up a little bit more than some of the men do right now.
Absolutely.
Certainly, I offer sessions over Skype and Zoom for anybody who has a stress or a struggle. And that could be, you go to work every day and you have a critical boss. It could be a chronic health issue. It could be your frustration with not having the relationship that you really need or that you want in your life, with yourself, with a partner. It could be contemplating divorce with a partner. It could be failed relationships with your children, or maybe infertility. There's just so many ways that we can get stressed, and we kind of have acute stress, which is that like like somebody cuts us off on the road and we kind of slam on the brakes and we hit the horn, honk the horn. That's a kind of acute stress of things that just kind of quick happen to us. And then we've got kind of those prolonged stresses, which are just those things that are chronic and ongoing, which we feel like we're kind of like walking in the mud of life. Like, how do we get out of this mud? So no matter if you have a chronic or an acute type of stress that you've experienced, and you are looking for some type of alternative holistic approach to help your mind, body process that experience, that way you can move through it. And moving through it means to really grow through it and find those self-connection pieces that maybe are missing, that are helping you get that trust and that confidence and that empowerment to get to where it is that you want to go. So no matter what the storyline is, if it's not sitting well with you, then it's your stress or struggle. And so I help people kind of process that. Men, women, children. I have teenagers that I work with.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, so much pressure with kids right now, you know, between bullying and expectations of grades and
yes,
going. And I mean, 10th, 9th and 10th grade now, you have to have a resume practically. And
I think with all the social media for these kids, it's hard. Like I would love to get Ava a session with you. My daughter's 11 and already you can see, like, because in high school and junior high, when we weren't invited to something, we didn't know it.
Right.
You know, so I think that it's very hurtful to be sitting home and be like, oh, all my friends are doing this and they didn't call me. You know, so I think that adds to their stress and their anxiety, and they're trying to find who they are. And then this on top of it, it could be crippling.
Yeah, it's the image of what they think they're supposed to be based on what society tells them, and then their comparison of themselves to that image. If they didn't get that invitation to the party, if they didn't get that grade on that test, if they didn't complete all this community service hours or whatever they need to do to have this incredible, wildly incredible, amazing resume in order to get to where they think they're supposed to go, instead of just living through their life in that moment to moment and just enjoying themselves. We put so much pressure, or life puts so much pressure and expectations on them. So yeah, kids, you know, and then on the flip side, you get clients and, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s that are just, shoulda, coulda, woulda, what do I do about it now? And I've been practicing it, and I've got, migraines for 30 years, or I have irritable bowel problems, or I have multiple sclerosis, or, I'm my third husband and I'm constantly being betrayed and abandoned, or I'm afraid of commitment to myself and I'm stuck in this job where I really love to do, couponing, but, I'm going to go to every day and go to this job that I hate, and it's like, oh, okay, well, how do we turn what is that you love into, your livelihood? So everyone has a different point of view about what they're going through. So if you're just not getting the result that you want, then you are in a vibration that is keeping you, stressed and struggling. You don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay there. Because tapping, if we can go over the tapping points a little bit and what they really mean.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, I mean, Chinese medicine's been around about, 5,000 plus years. And we've got these rivers of energy that flow in our body from our head to our toes. And they're called meridians. And if there's hundreds of points along those meridians. And if you went to an acupuncturist, they would put needles in these meridians for the purpose of circulating the energy body to help promote circulation, promote healing to where there's parts of you that are too much energy revved up or no energy at all. So we're always wanting that balanced flow, that easy balanced flow in our energy. But there's some things that get us gas pedal to the floor. And there's other things that are just like, stop, halting, complete brake pedal. So we don't want to live like a Ferrari or a dead car, a Ferrari or a dead car. We want to just be kind of coasting, kind of going with the flow. So if you go to an acupuncturist, they would put needles in there to promote that circulation and flow. And what we do with the tapping is we're helping kind of normalize that energy pattern. We've got this energy in us, and if it's a thought that's like, I don't like that thought, or I never forgot what my mother said to me, I recorded it and I keep hearing it over and over in my mind, or it's that boss that said that thing to me, or my boyfriend or my husband or my wife or my girlfriend, they said that and I've never forgotten it, or I just, every time I think about even going to this place, my stomach gets upset, I get a migraine. It's like your body and your mind are talking to you through energy patterns. And so what we do when we're tapping on specific points is we're trying to smooth out and normalize those energy patterns. And when we do, that's when we start to come into self-connection and say, oh, this is really who I am. Now I can choose how I want to see that, as opposed to just reacting to it with that fast energy or that slow energy. The fast or the slow. We're just and to kind of build that coast. So the first point that we use to tap is just between your eyes. It's the bladder meridian.
Okay.
And it represents emotional trauma. So if you just took 2 fingers, either hand, it doesn't matter, and just tap between your eyes. The first point is your bladder meridian, represents emotional trauma when it's blocked. And if you grew your eyebrow to the side of your eye over here and just took 2 fingers and tapped there, that's the gallbladder meridian. And
Is it better to do it on both sides, or it doesn't matter?
You know, you could do it on both. Some people say to tap alternatingly. You know, I would just, for simplicity's sake, I just say pick one side, pick one hand. Don't get too complicated today. And then under your right here, right on the top of your cheekbone, just 2 fingers and start tapping there. This is the stomach meridian, and it represents anxiety.
Okay.
And then if you kind of grew your collarbones together right here, just take all 4 fingers and get a nice bounce here. And this is the kidney meridian, and it represents fear. And then you take one hand and you squeeze the opposite wrist a couple of times. And the reason why you do that is that instead of tapping on our wrist, we're squeezing it. And the reason why is because we've got these meridians that run under the bottom of our hand and on the top of our arm out to our fingertips. And each finger is an endpoint of a meridian. So our thumb is our lung meridian, and it represents grief. The index finger is the large intestine, and it represents stubbornness. The middle finger is the pericardium, and it represents jealousy. Skip the ring finger, go to the pinky. On the side of the pinky is the heart meridian, it represents shock. And then on the side of the hand is the small intestine, and it represents fear of a new experience. So if you're watching this and maybe you've seen some tapping before, you are like, wait a minute, you missed a few points. There are other protocols for tapping because it's been around for about 50 years. So there's different flavors of it. Some people tap under their nose, on their chin, some under their breast, under their arm, on the top of their head. If you're familiar and comfortable with those points, great, tap those points. My flavor, I just like between the eyes, side of the eye, under the eye, collarbone, and you grab your wrist. Keeps it nice and simple. So we're doing when we are, you know, trying to unravel our stress, we have to go to our stress first. So if you want to, we can play around a little bit and do some tapping.
Well, I don't want to start crying on the video.
No. A good sample of it. So if you just think of something that kind of stresses you out right now, something simple.
Oh, we could do something like, maybe I am concerned. My daughter just started middle school. And so I have a little bit of anxiety as to if I can help her with the workload, because they've changed all of the way, it's not the way we learned when we were in school. And I just want her to be okay, and I want to support her. So I worry.
Focus on that worry, right? That worry. How do you get worried? Do you see her in your mind going to school and not getting her needs met? Do you see her?
I don't know. She's very sensitive and she's very sweet. And I don't know. I just feel like maybe sometimes, you know, the other kid, she's not mean. She doesn't have a mean bone in her body. And I'm not just saying that because she's my daughter. She really doesn't. And even when she was.
Focus on that worry. Just focus on that worry.
Okay.
Right? You always have 1,000 words to describe the story, but just with that worry. Watch those little movies in your mind of how you worry about her. Hear those voices. Hear her voice maybe saying something to you, or maybe she hasn't even said anything to you yet, but you're like, well, one day she could say this thing to me, and then I would really, really worry. Or maybe it's whatever you tell yourself that you're thinking about, that you're repeating to yourself that you're worried about. Hear it in your own voice. And then maybe even notice your body's reaction to all of this worry and how you're creating this inside of you. And on a scale of 0 to 10, if 0 is like, it doesn't really bother me, and 10 is like, it really bothers me, what number is it that's worrying for you right now?
Well, I mean, it's not all the time, I guess, you know, right now, because I just hope she finds her group of friends and she gets to fit in, like that I want her to have a fun experience and be with fun peers and people who are kind and supportive. So, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm freaking out about it, but sometimes, like right now when we're talking about it, I'm feeling emotional.
Okay, great. So tell me, what number is it now? Like,
I guess right now it's a 7 because we're talking about it, so I'm feeling a little emotional.
Okay, good. Just aim at that 7, and then maybe notice what's the worst part of that 7. Maybe to turn up the volume a little bit. Just notice. Just notice to make that 7 maybe an 8 or a 9, because we have to find something that, you know, Because with tapping, we're really here to like weed this stuff out of the root. We are not here to mow the lawn and make it look pretty. We're really here to get it out. So the closer that you can get to the root of it, the better, because it's never going to be the same after we tap on it.
Well, I don't want to go too deep and start crying here in front of everybody.
Well, just for purposes of our video today, we'll just say you've got this worry, okay? So notice the 7 level of worry that you have, and just watch movies, hear the sounds, feel the sensations, right? Get that 7 going, and then just tap between your eyes and repeat out loud after me and say, all this worry,
all this worry,
all this stress,
all the stress.
There's a lot of reason for it.
There's a lot of reasons for it.
A lot of thoughts behind it.
A lot of thoughts behind it.
Tap on the side of the eye, all this worry.
All this worry.
What worry looks like.
Worry looks like.
What it sounds like.
What it sounds like.
What it feels like.
What it feels like.
Tap under your eye, all my worry.
All my worry.
All my stress about this story.
All my stress about this story.
I'm creating it.
I'm creating it.
It's inside of me.
It's inside of me.
And I'm choosing to let it go.
And I'm choosing to let it go.
And tap on your collarbone. I'm willing to let this worry go.
I am willing to let this worry go.
I can't worry enough.
I can't worry enough.
To make her feel safe.
To make her feel safe.
So I choose to let go of this worry.
I choose to let go of this worry.
And grab your wrists and squeeze it around a couple times. Take a nice breath. Blow it out. Say the word clear.
Clear.
And tell me how you feel.
I feel good.
Yeah.
I do. I love because when you say it, those words to me, it really like makes you think, oh, I am doing this. I am creating this. I love it.
So
I don't want to get emotional.
Process is that we would take something like your story and we'd really start to dissect it into, parts and pieces of either things that have happened or things that you're worried about are happening. And we would start to look at them as movies, hear them as voices and sounds, notice them as sensations, and really help the mind body process them through, because that's where we're stuck. You're stuck in worry. You can't worry enough about her to make her feel safe. Your worry is going to be her worry. If you stand in a place of power and safety, she will too. And she won't even have that vibration of anything coming near her for you to worry about. But if you're worrying, you're projecting that worrying onto her. So you really taking back your power and processing through worry, no matter where it came from, it's going to give you the peace of mind, and then she's going to, she will assimilate to your confidence. And there won't be anything to worry about.
You are a very wise woman, and I feel very blessed to have you in my life and to have access to you. So for everybody else, can we tell them how? Because you offer packages. So you have the retreats, which I think are super amazing. If people can get away, I couldn't recommend this enough. What a wonderful thing, especially even if you have friends or family in Florida, like they can go down and spend the weekend with you, or maybe go see their friends and family before and then get their stress out at the end.
Right.
Or get in a good mindset to go see their family. It can work both ways, especially with the holidays coming. People are going to be on overload. Do you have a way that people can get in touch with you to sign up for these events?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a website called transformedconnections.com.
Which is beautiful.
Thank you. I have a Facebook business page called Transform Connections. Also an Instagram called Transform Connections. You can always email me at transformedconnections@gmail.com. And then if you're a woman, I invite you to join our private community called the Empowered Social Revolution. It's on Facebook. And there I provide support and strategies, mostly tapping and helping women kind of overcome their stress and struggle. So it's a really great community. We've got about 1,500 women in there right now. And we really are, supporting each other through, the unraveling of the conditioned version of us and moving to our authentic versions so that we can really start to live with genuine aliveness. So all that social media, website, Instagram, Facebook as Transformed Connections, email me at transformedconnections@gmail.com. And yeah, I invite you, if you want to have one session just to try it out, I do that, but I also have 6 session packages, 10 session packages, and I'm going to be launching in the next couple of weeks a new program that I have called 6 Shifts to Alive, Sensational, and Satisfied. So I take women through a course of a program that will really help them kind of uncover who their really true authentic selves are. That way they can start to live in that energy and get and manifest what it is that they want. I mean, side note is like I'm kind of a law of attraction junkie. So, that's a lot of my spiritual teachings are from there.
Well, I love it. I love you. I love what you do. I think you are the walking example of how someone can take their power back and really, and through healing yourself, now you are a healer and you're living your purpose. Because when I did your chart, you are a healer. You are, I mean, you're all about other people and you're a mirror. And, the way that you make it very comfortable to feel vulnerable with you is something that's very special and very rare. So I can't recommend you enough. And I look forward to speaking with you again. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come and speak to me. And thank you so much for sharing all that you did.
Thank you for having me. I loved it.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, I look forward to speaking to you soon. I know we've talked about doing some other videos, so everybody stay tuned.
Definitely. Lots to talk about. So
yeah. All right. Well, until next time, have a wonderful journey.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everyone.
Bye.